Hello everyone. There has been an announcement from Haryana Public Service Commission for the requirement of lecturer in architecture. There are a total 8 posts for this particular requirement of lecturer post in architecture, which is being conducted by Haryana Public Service Commission. This will be a permanent post in the Higher Education Department of Government of Haryana, and this is RH Chandar from KP Classes. In this video, we'll be looking into the details of the requirement procedure and the process, the syllabus, the exam details, and the important dates with respect to this requirement, which has been announced very recently by Haryana Public Service Commission. In this short video, we will be looking into the details of the number of posts. We'll begin our discussion by looking into the number of openings, how many posts are for the general category and how many posts are for the reserved candidates, and then we'll be looking into the important dates in this for this particular requirement process, the eligibility criteria, who all can apply, what are the requirements, is the domicile of Haryana required or not, what are the language requirements. We'll be looking into those details, and then we'll look into the selection procedure, what is the selection process and how many stages. It's a 3-stage selection process for this particular post. We'll have a discussion on that. And then we'll also look into the details of the syllabus and how you can prepare for this particular post. We'll be going through all these details in this short video. So let me begin first by taking you through the number of openings, number of posts in this requirement process. So the total number of posts, this is so the relevant, so there's a common notification which has been published on the website of Haryana Public Service Commission, wherein it's a requirement process for the post of lecturer in various specializations. Our focus is on architecture. That is the second serial number. The number of that advertisement is going to be 73 by 24, 73rd advertisement of the year 2024, lecturer in architecture. And if you can see, the total number of posts is 8, of which there are 4 posts for the general category. One is reserved for the SC category, 2 posts are reserved for BCA category, 1 post is reserved for BCB category as well. Now, as per the notification, anyone who is citizen of India and who possesses the eligibility criteria, we'll look into the eligibility criteria as well. Anyone across the country can apply for this post, but in the eligibility criteria, there's a language requirement that you should have either Hindi or Sanskrit in your 10th standard. That's the requirement. I'll take you through the details of the eligibility. But anyone across the country, not only people of Haryana, anyone from across the country, those who have had either Hindi or Sanskrit in 10th standard and has an architecture degree can apply for these general posts. However, for the reserved posts, particularly the 2 posts of BCA category and 1 post of SC category, for the reserved posts, it is required that you have the domicile of Haryana. So that's with respect to the domicile requirements for this particular post. And the pay scale for this particular post, it is 5400 grade pay, which is at par with all other, like even assistant architect posts in various state public service commissions, including Haryana. Other than that, even the UPSC, Union Public Service Commission deputy architect post, even that is of same grade pay, which is in central government levels. It comes under level 10 for the pay scale. So it is 5400 grade pay. So it's a very good. It is one of the, so it's the top most entry level salary, you can say, with respect to the pay scale. So that's with respect to the number of posts. Now moving further to the important dates for this requirement process, the advertisement was published on 6th of November on the website of Haryana Public Service Commission. The link for applying, by the time you're watching this video, the link for applying for this post must already be live. You can start applying for this post from 7th of November 2024, and the closing date, the last date for completing your application, the online application, that is 27th of November 2024. That's the last date. Do not wait. So you have a 20-day time span to apply for this post, but do not wait for the last moment. Make sure you apply well ahead of the last closing date itself. You can apply, you can look into the further details on the official website of HPSC. You can also find the link for applying on the same website of HPSC under the notifications tab. So that's with respect to important dates. Moving on to the eligibility criteria, one of the most important section for knowing if you are eligible for this post or not. For the post of lecturer in architecture, the eligibility is bachelor's and master's degree in architecture. It's and, so you have to possess master's degree in architecture too, with first class either in bachelor's or master's degree from a recognized university or institution. So you need to at least have first class score. Either in BArch or MArch, any one at least. So BArch plus MArch is the requirement if you have completed your bachelor's and also master's in architecture. You will be eligible for this post. As far as the language now, for those who have completed the masters in architecture, this is going to be a golden opportunity because the number of candidates who apply for the post will be only a peer group of those who have done MArch. So you can, it is easy for you to get selected if you have efforts in the right direction. As far as the second important eligibility criteria, it is important that you have either Hindi or Sanskrit, any one of these two subjects. You should have it in your matriculation or higher education level. So in simple terms, in 10th standard, you should either have Hindi or Sanskrit, any one of this. Other than that, anyone from any part of the country, if you're a citizen of India, you can apply for this post. The post is also open for citizens of Nepal, Bhutan, and so on. So you can read the official notification for the eligibility criteria. But these are the broad important points to be remembered for the eligibility criteria. Other than that, with respect to age limit, the minimum age is 21 years and the maximum age limit is 42 years for general category. There is some age relaxation for reserved category candidates, and also many other there are many other relaxations also. You can check the official notification of on the website of HPSC. You can, for general category, 21 to 42 years, that's the age band who will be applicable for the post of lecturer in architecture. Now moving to details on the syllabus. Firstly, the selection procedure. As far as the selection process for these 8 posts is concerned, it's a 3-stage selection process. The first level would be a screening test. However, it is written as wherever applicable. Now let us also try to know when is screening test out. Now this is a standard procedure not only for this post but for any other requirement of HPSC. They follow the similar process nowadays. It has been updated now. It will be a 3-stage selection process where you will have a screening test first. Now this screening test is just a requirement for qualification. The marks of screening test will not be considered for the final selection, and this is applicable whenever the number of applicants is less than 4 times the openings. Like in our case, there are total of 8 posts, 8 posts 32. So if less than 32 candidates apply for this post, then there is no the screening test will not be conducted. Directly a subject knowledge test will be conducted. However, it is very highly unlikely that less than 32 people will be applying because it is open to candidates across the country. So the number of applicants is expected to be very high too. So if the number of candidates is greater than 32 for this particular post, because it is 4 times the number of openings, then the screening test will be conducted. It is mandatory. So screening test is expected to be conducted over here. The screening test structure. So there are 1 or 2 important points which you have to keep in mind for the screening test of this post, and also in general for HPSC requirement processes. Let me talk about those because it is very important to know it. The exam structure for the screening test, it will be a multiple choice question based exam where you will have a question with 5 options A, B, C, D, E. Technically it is 4 options A, B, C, D. E is basically not attempted. So we'll talk about the option E in a while. So there will be 100 questions MCQ type. It will be a 2-hour examination. All the questions will have equal marks of weightage and the total marks will be 100 marks. Now, as far as the MCQ type is considered in HPSC, it will be an OMR sheet based exam where you need to darken the circles. So you'll have 4 options A, B, C, D, and then a 5th option E. E option has to be selected when you don't want to attempt that question. So if you know, so option A, B, C, D will be the 4 options. You have to select any one option as the correct answer. If you select an incorrect answer, you will get a negative mark of 0.25. Now, if you don't want to attempt that question, you cannot leave it empty. If you don't want to attempt that question, you'll need to darken the last option, that is E, where you don't know the answer basically. So it is written even in the notification, and it has to be noted, any candidate who is not darkening any of the 5 circles more than 10% of the question. So out of 100, in more than 10 questions, if you're not darkening any of the 5 circles, then you will be disqualified directly. So that is very important key point. Don't do such mistake if you are applying for the post and going for the screening test. Ensure that you darken all the circles, all the 100 questions, 10%, more than 10% if you're not attempting. If you're not darkening even option E, then you will be disqualified. So if you don't know the answer, you have to darken option E, wherein you will get 0 marks. There will be no negative marking for this. But if you select an incorrect option, you will have a negative marking of minus 0.25. The cutoff for the screening test will be 25%. You have to score at least 25 out of 100 to be eligible for the next step. So the second step, once the screening test is done, there will be a subject knowledge test. The official syllabus for this particular post has not been released yet. However, if you look into the past exams of HPSC, recently HPSC also conducted an exam for assistant architect. They follow the same syllabus for both the screening and also the subject knowledge test. However, subject knowledge test will be a 3-hour examination with 150 marks of weightage. It has to be complete. The question paper will be in English completely, and you also need to attempt all the answers in English only, no other language. The number of candidates who will be called for the interview will be 2 times the number of posts. So 8 into 2, that is 16 people, including so the waiting list candidates, so slightly higher than that, you can say. And also the qualifying mark is 35% for the subject knowledge test. In the final selection, there will be a maximum weightage for this exam itself. As I told you, the screening test is just for shortlisting the candidates. The score of this particular test will not be considered for the merit list. While preparing the merit list, 87.5% of weightage is given to the subject knowledge test, which will be a descriptive paper. So you'll need to write the answers. Generally there are around say 15 questions or so. You'll need to attempt all the questions, and you will basically have a weightage of 87.5. So we will have a discussion on it when in further videos sometime, but for now you can remember that the second stage has the maximum weightage of 87.5%. The remaining 12.5% of weightage for the merit list, that will be for the third stage, that is interview. Interview candidates will be shortlisted through the subject test. So it is a 3-step process. Screening test first, which is an MCQ examination. Then once you shortlisted with more than 25% marks in it, you will move to the next stage, that is subject knowledge test, which will be a descriptive paper, expected to be a descriptive paper. That will be a 3-hour examination, and then it has the maximum weightage of 87.5 marks. Once you clear that with more than 35% of the marks, you'll go to the next process, next step, that is interview round, which will be having a weightage of 12.5% of the weightage in the final selection merit list. So that's a 3-step process for the selection of the lecturer in architecture by HPSC. Moving further, many students also have a confusion with respect to the eligibility criteria. As per the official notification, this is a snippet of the official notification, and it is clearly stated that bachelor's and master's degree in architecture from a recognized university. It is mentioned that way. In the past, last time the requirement was done, that was in the year 2022, for the same lecturer in architecture. Even candidates with masters in planning were eligible for that particular post in the year 2022. So however, this year's notification, it is just stated that architecture masters in architecture is mandatory. So you can, if you want 100% surety as to the eligibility criteria, if you want clarity in that regard, you can always reach out to the Haryana Public Service Commission helpline from your end and get a better clarity with regard to that. As far as the exam syllabus is considered, the official syllabus for this year, it has not been published yet. Once we have that information, we'll put out a relevant video further, moving further. At this point of time, if you go through the past exam syllabus of the year 2022, even in the year 2022, our lecturer in architecture exam was conducted by HPSC, and in that 2022 year, the exam syllabus had a total of 13 sections, which included architecture planning and design, construction management, environmental planning and design, urban design, landscape conservation, planning process, housing, services and infrastructure, Other than that, you also have history and contemporary architecture, building construction, structural systems, building services and sustainability, regional and settlement planning, planning techniques and management, infrastructure planning. Now this 13 section structure is same as the GATE architecture and planning syllabus, which has been updated. The new exam syllabus of GATE. So GATE architecture and planning syllabus was revised in the year 2021. So that revised structure that is followed as the same syllabus is followed generally by HPSC even in the year 2022 for the lecturer post. And also very recently this year 2024, the requirement of assistant architect, the same syllabus was followed. So it is expected that the same syllabus will be followed for the upcoming lecturer post of architecture also. But we'll need to wait for an official release of the syllabus. But more or less, even if there's a change, it is not going to be a major change, because the syllabus will encompass everything of BArch curriculum right from the first to the final 5th year. So it is expected that all the aspects of architecture and planning will be included in the syllabus for this post as well. Accordingly, you will need to prepare for this examination. So if you are applying for the post, if you're eligible and if you're applying for this post, and if you're looking for guidance in this regard, you can enroll into the HPSC Lecturer and Architecture batch by KP classes. In our curriculum, so we have this experience of training students, candidates getting into government jobs, not only in HPSC, even in DDA, ISRO, UPSC, UPPSC, and so on, in many other requirement tests. You can enroll into the upcoming batch, wherein you'll be having online classes. You'll also be having the recorded backup of all the lectures. You'll have live online classes, then the recorded backup of all those lectures on your mobile app, with the access to test series, with a lot of sectional mock tests, and also access to the past exams of architecture by HPSC with detailed explanation. You'll have access to all that, including the study material, wherein you have a set of books which have been developed particularly keeping in mind the structure of these government jobs, including the HPSC. So you can enroll into the upcoming HPSC Architecture Lecturer in Architecture batch. For the details of the batch and the enrollment procedure, you can reach out to us. The contact number of ours is given in the description of this video. And if you want to look into further details with respect to this post, you'll find the relevant links in the description of this video. Thank you.